All right, welcome to the next portion of the notes for 8-2. Okay, so the next one says to solve the equation square root x plus 4 is equal to 6 using a graphing calculator. So what they want you to do is they want you to see where these two cross. It says enter the left side of the function and the right side is another function. So this is going to be our left side, right? It's going to be one function. So we're going to have y equals 2 square root x plus 4. And then the right side will be another function, which will be a second function. Y equals 6. All right, so you can do this in Desmos or a graphing calculator. Remember that in your graphing calculator or in Desmos, you're going to be using technology. Make sure you enter things properly. So first I have y equals 2 square root x plus 4. That's my first function. And my second function is y equals 6. Zoom standard. There is my first graph, the square root function, and the second graph is right there at y equals 6. So I'm going to sketch these in. So this function, 2x plus 4, it's the parent, but it has been shifted to the left 4, right? So h equals -4, and our scale a equals 2. So to sketch this, you can use your graphing calculator and to help you, but I'm going to go back to the parent function. Remember, our parent is at 0, 0, and then 1, 1, which you cannot, it's hard to see here, but 1, 1 would be right here, 1, 1. And then 4, 2, which would be right here. Now, when we scale each of these values, right, we have x and our y, we have 0, 1, 4. We're going to scale each of our outputs. Y equals 2 square root x. So instead of having just 0, we'll do 2 times 0, which is 0. We'll have 2 times 1, which is 2. And we'll have 2 times 2, which is 4. And so then our new values would be at 0, 0, 1, 2, and 4, 4, right? So this is my scaled. And then I would shift to the left 4 units. So I'll shift left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. This point would move to the left 4, and this point would move to the left 4. Now, our graph of y equals 6. Y equals 6 is this line, y equals 6, and they're crossing right here. Now, to see where that is, in our graphing calculator, you can actually trace your function until you see where they cross, which is where x equals 5 and y equals 6. So their solution is this point at 5, 6. 5, 6 is the point where they cross. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next page. So we're going to flip over to page 109. We're on number 7 on page 109. So this was page 108. 108, sorry, number 6. We're on page 109. We're going to do the same thing. It says to solve this equation using the same method that we did in item 6. So this time I'm just going to graph. I prefer not using the graphing calculator to practice these square root functions. So I'm graphing y equals square root x minus 1. So my a value is 1, my h value is 1, and my k value is 0. So I'm going to take my parent function, which I'll do in light color. So 0, 0, 1, 1. Oh, but they're counting in horrible units here. So 1, 1 is going to be somewhere, this is 2.5, so somewhere like right here, and then 2, 4 would be like roughly right here. I'm sorry, 4, 2. 4, 2 would be roughly like right here. I'm going to take this function and I'm going to shift it to the right 1 unit. So that means that my new function will be at 1, 0, and then roughly right here and roughly right here. Okay, and then I'm going to verify this in just a minute using my graphing calculator. And then we're also going to graph the line y equals 5. Y equals 5 is this line that crosses through right here. So they're going to, because I'm not exactly sure where they're going to cross, I'm going to go ahead and use my graphing calculator. So I'm going to change this to y equals the square root of x minus 1 and the line y equals 5. And I'll hit zoom 6. Again, you guys can do this in Desmos. And I do see they're crossing way off to the side. So I do have to trace to see where they're crossing. It's going to take me a little bit to get there. In fact, I may have to zoom out or change my window settings. Oh, nope, it'll do it for me. I'm just going to keep zooming out. For you guys, this is a little bit easier if you're using Desmos, right? And so I'm looking for where y equals 5. Remember, we're going to hit that line, y equals 5. I'm almost there. Y equals, well, it's almost at 26, right? We're just slightly over 5. And at 25.9, we're just slightly under 5. So at about 26, which is roughly right here. So my graph should do something like this. And they're crossing at about 25. So I'm going to put approximately 25, 26, comma 5, roughly. Okay. Let's look at the next one. It says solve the equation 2 square root x plus 1 equals 4 using a graphing calculator. Include a sketch of the graph to support your answer. So we're going to do the same thing again. And this time we'll just use my graphing calculator. But it says, so y equals, we're going to have the line x plus 4, or sorry, y equals 4. So the line y equals 4 is right here, this line. This is the line y equals 4. And 2x plus 1. So using my graphing calculator, y equals 2, square root, x plus 1. And then delete this guy off. And this time we're doing y equals 4. And we're going to zoom 6 this guy and see where they cross. And they are crossing. Let me trace this. So again, I'm looking for y equals 4. They cross at about somewhere between 2.9 roughly and 3.03. Okay, now if I wanted to sketch this by hand, I would scale everything by 2. And so my parent, which is 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, comma 2, would be scaled. So my y values would change to, this would be 0, 0, 1, comma 2, and 4, comma 4, right there. But then I would also shift this graph to the left 1. So this point would move left 1, this point would move left 1, and this point would move left 1. And it would be something like this. So again, I scaled my y values by 2, right? So stretched them vertically by a factor of 2. So there is a bit of vertical stretch, and I shifted to the left 1, and this is y equals 2 square root x plus 1. And they do indeed cross at about 3, comma 4, at about 3, comma 4.